Live from New Delhi, you're watching DD India Live, India's voice to the world. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. Coming up in the next 30 minutes. PM Modi returns to India after concluding two-day state visit to Israel, elevated bilateral ties to a special strategic partnership with signing of 27 MOUs and agreements across diverse sectors. Canadian Prime Minister Carney to visit India from February 27 to 2nd of March at the invitation of Prime Minister Modi. Focus on strategic partnership review and talks on trade, investment, energy and innovation. Third round of US-Iran talks end with no deal but significant progress. Iranian Foreign Minister says further technical talks in less than a week in Vienna. And Abhishek Sharma, Hardik Pandya shine as India outsmart Zimbabwe in a must-win Super 8 encounter. Keep semis' hopes alive. India and Israel elevated their long-standing ties to a special strategic partnership anchored in deep trust, shared democratic values and human sensitivities. This comes as Prime Minister Narendra Modi concluded his two-day visit to Israel, marking a significant step forward in bilateral relations with 27 outcomes. Many focused on frontier technologies such as artificial intelligence.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi concluded his two-day visit to Israel, marking a significant step forward in bilateral relations. On the second day of the visit, Prime Minister Modi held delegation-level talks with Israeli Prime Minister Benjamin Netanyahu. Both leaders discussed the entire range of bilateral relationship, along with regional and global interest. Following the talks, India and Israel signed 27 outcomes, strengthening ties across multiple sectors. The partnership span emerging and strategic domains, including artificial intelligence, quantum technologies, and critical minerals, signaling a major push towards future-ready collaboration.
टेक्नोलॉजी हमारी भावी साझेदारी का केंद्र है। आज हमने क्रिटिकल एंड इमर्जिंग टेक्नोलॉजी पार्टनरशिप स्थापित करने का निर्णय लिया है। इससे एआई, क्वांटम और क्रिटिकल मिनरल्स जैसे क्षेत्रों में सहयोग को नई गति मिलेगी।
Addressing global concerns, Prime Minister Modi reiterated India's support for the Gaza peace plan, describing it as a pathway towards lasting stability. He emphasized India's commitment to dialogue and cooperation with all stakeholders to promote peace in the region.
भारत की सोच स्पष्ट है। Humanity must never become a victim of conflict. गाजा पीस प्लान से शांति का एक रास्ता बना है। भारत ने इन प्रयासों का पूर्ण समर्थन किया है। भविष्य में भी हम सभी देशों के साथ संवाद और सहयोग जारी रखेंगे।
Prime Minister Modi also highlighted progress on the India-Middle East-Europe Economic Corridor and the I2U2 grouping to enhance regional connectivity. Reaffirming a shared resolve, India and Israel declared a united stand against terrorism, pledging continued joint efforts to combat terror and its supporters.
भारत और इजराइल पूरी तरह से स्पष्ट है कि आतंकवाद का दुनिया में कोई स्थान नहीं है। किसी भी रूप में, किसी भी अभिव्यक्ति में आतंकवाद को स्वीकार नहीं किया जा सकता। हम कंधे से कंधा मिलाकर आतंकवाद और उनके समर्थकों का विरोध करते रहे हैं और आगे भी करते रहेंगे।
Before concluding his visit, Prime Minister Narendra Modi interacted with prominent members of the Indian Jewish community in Jerusalem, reinforcing strong people-to-people ties. Earlier, Prime Minister Modi held talks with Israeli President Isaac Herzog at the presidential residence. They discussed diverse aspects of the India-Israel friendship. Both leaders explored avenues to further enhance cooperation in education, startups, innovation, tech, and connectivity. The two leaders also planted a tree under Ek Ped Maa Ke Naam initiative. During the visit, Prime Minister Modi also paid tribute at Yad Vashem, the World Holocaust Remembrance Center. Accompanied by Prime Minister Netanyahu, he visited the Book of Names Hall and participated in a memorial ceremony, laying a wreath in honor of Holocaust victims.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi's Israel visit was a historic one. From the memorable speech in the Knesset to the elevation of ties to special strategic partnership, the visit capitalizes, builds upon the enduring bonds of trust and friendship and provides a roadmap for an innovation-led future. With camera person Jaishankar, Shubhendu Ghosh for DT India in Jerusalem.
Prime Minister Narendra Modi will virtually address the post-budget webinar on technology reforms and finance for Viksit Bharat today. The webinar will entail discussions on public capex, infrastructure, banking sector reforms, financial sector architecture, deepening capital markets and ease of living through tax reforms. The webinar is the first in a series of post-budget webinars being organized on key themes emerging from the Union Budget 2026-27. These webinars aim to draw lessons from past experiences and obtain structured feedback from participants to strengthen and ensure outcome-oriented implementation of the budget announcements for financial year 2026-27, drawing upon the practical experience and insights of diverse stakeholders. Canadian Prime Minister Carney will begin his 4-day visit to India from Friday at the invitation of Prime Minister Narendra Modi. This will be his first trip to India as the Prime Minister. On Friday and Saturday, he will be in India's financial capital, Mumbai, where he will participate in separate business engagements, interact with Indian and Canadian CEOs, industry and financial experts, innovators, educators, as well as Canadian pension funds based in India. On Sunday and Monday, Prime Minister Carney will be in New Delhi, where the two Prime Ministers will hold delegation-level talks at Hyderabad House. Both leaders will review the progress achieved till date across diverse areas of the India-Canada strategic partnership. Build on their earlier meetings in Kananaskis in June 2025 and Johannesburg in November 2025, they will also take stock of ongoing cooperation in key pillars, including trade and investment, energy, critical minerals, agriculture, education, research and innovation, and people-to-people ties. The two leaders will also exchange views on regional and global developments. Prime Minister Modi and Prime Minister Carney will also attend the India-Canada CEOs Forum. The visit is an opportunity to reaffirm the positive momentum and shared vision of India and Canada in building a forward-looking partnership. President Draupadi Murmu will visit Jaisalmer in Rajasthan on Friday to witness the Indian Air Force's exercise Vayu Shakti 2026. Prior to the exercise, the President will fly a sortie in indigenous light combat helicopter or LCH at Jaisalmer. The mission will be undertaken as a two-aircraft LCH formation with Chief of the Air Staff, Air Chief Marshal AP Singh, flying in the second LCH. The LCH Prachand is India's first indigenously designed and developed combat helicopter manufactured by Hindustan Aeronautics Limited. The helicopter has been designed to operate across diverse terrains ranging from deserts to high altitude regions. Meanwhile, just a day before Vayu Shakti 2026, the Indian Air Force released a spectacular video showcasing S-400 during Operation Sindoor. In the video, the S-400 air defense system has been shown operating in real combat mode for the first time, as the visuals showed the S-400 Triumph missile system being fired. The video highlighted what is described as the longest air kill ever recorded in military history. The footage showcased the S-400 locking onto an enemy target from a great distance and destroying it with precision, clearly demonstrating that India's air defense capability has become even stronger. What started as a simple pregnancy tracking app during the pandemic is now an AI-powered fertility revolution. Chennai entrepreneur Padmini Janaki launched Mind and Mom in 2021 to support women through pregnancy. From a mobile app to advanced clinical care, here's how one woman's startup is reshaping the journey of motherhood.
The idea of Mind and Mom began in 2019 during a work trip to Nashville. During the trip, founder Padmini Janaki noticed a lack of structured support for pregnant women. That observation sparked a simple yet powerful question: could technology guide women through their most vulnerable phases? That question led to the birth of Mind and Mom. Launched during the 2021 lockdown, it began as a community app helping women track pregnancy milestones and access reliable support.
It just started as a small community with a small app, and one fine day I realized it was still a very vitamin tablet. People are using it as only as part of the journey, and we wanted to be the entire journey.
By 2024, that vitamin tablet evolved into an essential healthcare ecosystem. Rebranding as LIVF, the startup moved from a good-to-have app to a tech-driven chain of fertility centers designed for millennials and Gen Z who demand transparency and science over traditional, often judgmental care.
In 2024, we become an AI-first, women-first chain of fertility centers entirely powered by AI and technology.
At the heart of LIVF is Cycle IQ, a proprietary AI engine that analyzes nearly 200 data points from hormonal markers to ultrasound scans. This tech eliminates guesswork, selecting the exact drug dosage and timing for treatment. The result is a staggering 18% increase in success rates and a massive leap in safety. While human grading of eggs can vary, AI provides a standardized, precise protocol that works whether a patient is in a metro city or a rural village.
What we have observed by using Cycle IQ in our clinic in the past year or so is about an 18% jump in the success rates for these patients, where we have been able to give a very personalized treatment with this clinical decision support engine that we have.
Despite the high-tech shift, the soul of the brand remains. The app still serves over 3 lakh women in English and Tamil, offering mental health and nutrition guidance. From a validation grant by the Tamil Nadu government to a multi-state AI chain, Padmini Janaki is proving that when you combine a doctor's brain with AI precision, the dream of motherhood is closer than ever. Bureau Report, DD India.
And still to come on this edition of DD India Live. US-Ukraine discuss post-war reconstruction in Geneva. Zelensky says next round of talks likely in Abu Dhabi in March. Hillary Clinton says she wants to see truth come out after finishing Epstein testimony. And Denmark Prime Minister Mette Frederiksen calls snap elections on March 24 amid Greenland momentum.
Jharkhand will mesmerize you with majestic nature, rich heritage and colorful culture.
Johar. It fits perfectly.
Thank you.
Full workout हो गया.
Ready?
Postcards from Jharkhand on National Geographic.
You're watching DD Live. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj. The Iranian and US delegations wrapped up their new round of nuclear talks in Geneva, Switzerland, after significant progress in the negotiation. The meeting marked the third round of indirect nuclear talks between Iran and the United States under the mediation of Oman, which began on Thursday morning. Iran's delegation was headed by Iranian Foreign Minister Sayed Abbas Araghchi, while US Presidential Special Envoy Steve Witkoff and President Donald Trump's son-in-law Jared Kushner represented the US in the negotiations. Omani Foreign Minister, who acted as mediator, said the two sides planned to resume negotiations soon after consultations in their capitals, and technical level discussions would take place next week in Vienna. Araghchi said after the talks that it was one of our most serious and longest rounds of negotiations with good progress. He also said the two sides agreed to begin technical reviews in Vienna next Monday.
We made good progress and very seriously entered into the elements of a possible agreement, both in the nuclear field and in the area of sanctions. On some issues, we have now become very close to an understanding. On certain other issues, we still have differences of opinion. The technical teams will begin technical talks in Vienna on Monday at the International Atomic Energy Agency, and with the assistance of the agency's experts, we will try to bring some of the technical issues into a framework so that it can later be aligned with the political demands of both sides.
Moving on to another set of peace talks, where Ukraine and US also concluded their talks, and preparations are underway for the next round of negotiations. Ukraine's chief negotiator Rustem Umerov said the objective is to make the next trilateral meeting involving the United States and Russia as substantive as possible. Umerov said particular attention during the latest meetings was devoted to Ukraine's economic track and long-term support mechanisms. Separately, Russia's presidential special envoy Kirill Dmitriev also held talks with US representatives in Geneva, though he declined to comment on the results of negotiations with the US. After the bilateral talks, Ukrainian President Volodymyr Zelensky said trilateral talks are likely to take place in Abu Dhabi in early March. The talks would aim to prepare the way for a meeting of Ukraine and Russia's leaders.
There is more readiness for the next trilateral meeting. Most likely, the next meeting will be in the Emirates, in Abu Dhabi. We expect the gathering to happen at the beginning of March to finalize everything that was agreed for real security guarantees. To prepare a meeting at the level of country leaders, this particular format could advance many things.
The International Monetary Fund has approved $8.1 billion four-year loan for Ukraine, of which $1.5 billion would be disbursed immediately. The IMF said the new loan will help Kyiv to maintain economic stability and keep public spending flowing. Ukrainian Prime Minister Yulia hailed the loan as part of a broader financial framework that would cover an estimated budget shortfall of $136.5 billion over 4 years, while IMF Managing Director said the IMF loan would resolve Ukraine's balance of payments problem and restore medium-term external viability. She said it will also boost prospects for reconstruction and growth after the conflict ends. It would also help to facilitate Ukraine's steps to join the European Union. Moving on to investigations into Epstein files, former US Secretary of State Hillary Clinton told a congressional committee that she did not remember ever meeting the late sex offender Jeffrey Epstein. Clinton said that she has no information to share about his criminal activities. She delivered a closed-door deposition to the House of Representatives Oversight Committee in Chappaqua, New York on Thursday. Clinton characterized her knowledge of Epstein's associate Ghislaine Maxwell as casual, describing her as an acquaintance. She and her husband, Democratic former President Bill Clinton, initially refused to testify before the committee, but relented when lawmakers moved to hold them in contempt of Congress. Hillary Clinton also expressed confidence that her husband, former U.S. President Bill Clinton, knew nothing of Epstein's crimes when they were still in contact. Bill Clinton is scheduled to testify to the committee on Friday.
I answered every one of their questions as fully as I could, based on what I knew. I never met Jeffrey Epstein, never had any connection or communication with him. I knew Ghislaine Maxwell casually as an acquaintance. I think the chronology of the connection that he had with Epstein ended several years before anything about Epstein's criminal activities came to light.
Pakistan's defense minister has declared open war on the Taliban government on Friday after Pakistan bombed Afghanistan's cities Kabul and Kandahar. The declaration came hours after Afghan forces attacked Pakistani border troops in what the Taliban government said was retaliation for earlier deadly airstrikes. The Afghan Ministry of Defense said 8 Afghan soldiers were killed in the border clash and several civilians were injured near the Torkham crossing at a camp for returnees from Pakistan. The Taliban government confirmed the Pakistani airstrikes, though their spokesman Zabihullah Mujahid denied any casualties. Zabihullah Mujahid said that Afghan forces would carry out major offensive operations along the border in response to repeated violations by the Pakistani military. Danish Prime Minister has announced early elections, hailing the next 4 years as decisive for her country. Announcing the decision to call early elections on 24th of March, Mette Frederiksen told Parliament that security will remain the very foundation of Danish politics for many years to come, as it is now. With the call, Frederiksen seeks to capitalize on a surge in support for her defiant stance against US pressure over Greenland. She has spent recent months rallying European leaders against Trump's renewed interest in taking over the Arctic island. The opinion polls suggest that this step has bolstered her popularity after public dissatisfaction over rising living costs and pressures on welfare services. Argentina and Uruguay's parliaments ratified the free trade agreement between the Mercosur bloc and the European Union. The Argentine Senate approved the treaty with 69 votes in favor and 3 against. On the same day, Uruguay also gave its approval to the agreement, which still requires ratification from Brazil, Paraguay and the European Union to take full effect. The deal was signed in January after 25 years of negotiations. The Mercosur countries include Argentina, Brazil, Paraguay, Uruguay and Bolivia, though Venezuela is a full member but is currently suspended. The treaty has backing from leading EU economies, but it is opposed by France over fears that increased imports could harm domestic farmers. And time now for some sports news. Defending champions India kept their T20 World Cup semi-final hopes alive and eliminated opponents Zimbabwe with a 72-run victory in Chennai. In a must-win situation after losing to South Africa in their Super 8 Group 1 opener, India rode on half-centuries by Abhishek Sharma and Hardik Pandya to post 256 for 4 after being sent into bat first. This is also the highest total at T20 World Cup by Team India. Not only this, Abhishek recorded a half-century and Captain Surya Kumar Yadav also completed the 4,000 international runs mark. With this victory, Team India now steps into another crucial encounter against the West Indies in Kolkata. With bowling still a concern for Team India, it remains to be seen how Team India plans to cope up with the departments which need strength and conditioning. South Africa have sent a strong message to their rivals in the T20 World Cup. Led by Aiden Markram, the Proteas registered a commanding 9-wicket win over West Indies in their Super 8 clash at the Narendra Modi Stadium in Ahmedabad. Chasing 177, Aiden Markram led from the front with a brilliant unbeaten 82 off just 46 deliveries. He looked in complete control from the very first over, attacking both pace and spin with ease. Quinton de Kock supported him well as the duo added 95 runs for the opening wicket. After de Kock's dismissal, Ryan Rickelton joined Markram to finish the chase comfortably, with South Africa reaching the target with 23 balls to spare. Cristiano Ronaldo has acquired a 25% ownership stake in Spanish second division club UD Almeria. The financial terms of the transaction done through the Portugal captain CR7 Sports Investments Company have not been disclosed, but the deal is considered a long-term strategic investment from Ronaldo. Ronaldo, who turned 41 on February 5th, has in the past expressed his desire to own a football club once he retired. Daniel Medvedev produced a clinical 6-2-6-1 performance against Janssen Brooksby to advance to his third Dubai semi-final and book a showdown with Felix Auger-Aliassime. The former world number 1 boasts 22 career titles but has never won the same tournament twice. He is trying to change that this week in Dubai, where he lifted the trophy in 2023. Medvedev advanced to the 53rd hard-court semi-final of his career, trailing just Novak Djokovic among active players. The 30-year-old former US Open champion will next take on top-seeded Auger-Aliassime, who defeated Czech 8th seed Jiří Lečeka. That's all for this edition of DD India Live, but let us know your thoughts on the news of the day. For those on the go, you can get all the latest news and updates from India and across the world on DD India mobile app. The app is available on both Android and iOS platforms, and you can scan the QR code on the screen to download now. We'll be back with more news as it breaks here on DD India. I'm Siddharth Bharadwaj from all of us here in Delhi. Thanks for watching DD India Live.